Hello and welcome to the Stronghold Digital Mining Daily Update. Today's Monday, December 11th, 2023. We are less than 24 hours away from what I think is going to be an incredibly compelling, interesting, and quite frankly, exciting investor/analyst day that's being held at the NASDAQ market site in New York City, being hosted by Stronghold Digital Mining to go into a lot more depth and detail as it relates to the carbon capture initiative. Now, that's going to be tomorrow. Today, what has been grabbing a lot of headlines is the so-called flash crash in the price of Bitcoin. Right now, it's just under $41,000 a coin. It had been pushing up close to $45,000 a coin just a couple of days ago, and it took a bit of a nosedive just in the past day or so. What Bitcoin giveth, Bitcoin can taketh away, right? So a lot of publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies saw their stock prices surging in price in sympathy with the price of Bitcoin going up. Now that we see that there's been a flash crash and, lo and behold, practically every publicly traded Bitcoin mining company has seen their stock price get pummeled quite severely, to say the least, and Stronghold Digital Mining has not been an exception. That being said, we, as in Stronghold Digital Mining, have a lot of interesting revenue inputs beyond just hash price, right? Hey, if for whatever reason Bitcoin mining economics aren't that good, we've got some options. That being said, Bitcoin mining economics, which I've continued to monitor over the past 24 hours, have been really, really good. Okay, I'm not going to say they've been phenomenal, but they have really been in a range that can be quite useful from a revenue perspective, not just to Stronghold Digital Mining, but really to practically every company in the Bitcoin publicly traded Bitcoin mining ecosystem. So from a pure operational perspective, the drop in the price of Bitcoin has not, as of yet, had a materially adverse impact on Bitcoin mining economics. Because bear in mind, hash price is going to be impacted by the overall Bitcoin network hash rate, right? I know that it's very tempting to just think in terms of like, hey, if the price of Bitcoin is up, it must mean it's more profitable to mine Bitcoin. And certainly, to the extent the Bitcoin network hash rate stays stable, then that would be very true. However, if the price of Bitcoin goes up and you see a quick rise in the network hash rate, as somebody once said, hey, you could have Bitcoin at $1 million a coin, right? But if the network hash rate is an astronomically high number as well, you could very well see a situation where hash prices are not very good. So again, I think we need to look at hash price, not just the price of Bitcoin. That being said, when Bitcoin moves, be it to the upside or to the downside, that will inevitably create a scenario where Bitcoin mining stocks are going to trade in sympathy to that, right? And it's just one of those things. So from a hash price perspective, that's been looking good. Specific to Stronghold Digital Mining, so there are two zones of the electric grid, right? PJM-PENELEC, that's in western Pennsylvania, and PJM-PENELEC, that's here in eastern Pennsylvania. Grid prices in both those zones of the grid are going to be a relevant input for this business, for this company, when those grid prices prove themselves to be more advantageous than what I often like to call Bitcoin priced in dollars per megawatt hour. Okay, so if hash prices, as decent as they may be, if they are eclipsed basically by grid prices in one of those two zones of the grid, with grid prices that are more lucrative, right, then you're going to see Stronghold Digital Mining pivot either at Scrubgrass or at Panther Creek or at both facilities to selling electricity directly into the PJM grid. And so for about from about, say, like 7 o'clock this morning till about, say, 11:30 this morning, specifically in the western part of Pennsylvania, in PJM-PENELEC, which is served by the Scrubgrass facility, we saw grid prices averaging about $155. I mean, at some points, grid prices were over $300 a megawatt. So clearly, right, that produced an environment where it made sense for Scrubgrass to be selling electricity into the grid for a return, right, that would be and was more advantageous than just simply using the electricity to power the data center to mine Bitcoin. So today has actually been a really, really lucrative day for Stronghold Digital Mining, notwithstanding the price of Bitcoin having experienced, I guess if you want to call it a flash crash. That's what I see some of the media outlets referring to it as. Notwithstanding that, drop in the price of Bitcoin, from an operational perspective, everything I've seen suggests that today has been a really, really good day for Stronghold Digital Mining so far as it relates to revenue inputs. Tomorrow, less than 24 hours from now, we're going to have this, I think, really important event in New York City at the NASDAQ market site. Stronghold Digital Mining is going to be, I believe, revealing some truly incredibly interesting information that I suspect, if Bitcoin is cooperative, right, that we're not, kind of coming to market with some really interesting news and we have, Bitcoin fluctuating further to the downside. I think if the overall environment in the market is pretty decent, I think we could potentially see shares of Stronghold Digital Mining responding favorably to the news that is likely, in my opinion, to come out tomorrow. Of course, I don't have a crystal ball, right? And so who knows what's going to really happen. But I anticipate some very useful, very positive news coming out of this event tomorrow. So until then, let's stay positive, let's be great, and we'll see each other at the end of the day, and we'll discuss what transpired earlier in the day. Okay, see you then.